Hey guys, today we're doing a dry pour concrete pad with a twist. We're in a 4-season climate, so we're using a reinforced steel mesh. We're gonna see if this actually works. Cheers. We're gonna be attacking this from the perspective of how do we make it last the frost, right? And we're gonna be introducing this little stencil. It gives you a design kind of like doing like paver stone, okay? This also gives us the ability to create relief joints so we have the room for the expansion and contraction that this slab is gonna see. So, I'm not a concrete guy. I'm gonna try the dry pour. We're gonna experiment with the stencil. And we're gonna do that so that you don't have to waste your time and money doing it. If it works, we'll let you know. If it doesn't, I'll just top it over with some other concrete and we'll call it a day. Cheers. So what we need to do here is know the end from the beginning. And the stencil is basically a 16 by 16. We've got the deck feet here. So we're gonna start about 4 inches or so away from the deck. We're gonna also start the same dimension away from the shed. We're also gonna start the same distance from the deck. And what we'll do is when we're all finished here, we'll finish off with some white river rock just to clean things up all the way around, plus the fence, right? So we get a continuity. So we're gonna use that measurement. We're gonna go to 32 inches, right? So we marked off a little bit wider. We got room to put a set of 2x4s in there. And then that white rock will come all the way around, boom, down the side of the shed. Piece of cake. We also marked off, when you're using your tape, it's really simple because the 16s are all the red squares. So here's my red square for 64 inches. There you go. And I'm gonna get Matt to dig this out because he's young and strong backed. But the goal here is to get rid of all the grass from frame to corner to corner. We'll get all that out of here. Because we have a bit of a slope, we have the advantage of having drainage. That'll help. But let's face it, in a 4-season climate, we all know what happens. Every once in a while, every year out of every 5, you're gonna get a mild winter where during the day the sun is beating down and it's causing everything to melt and it's trapped in the ice and the snow and it's just pooled there. And then at night it freezes again. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a reinforcement system in this pad so it'll last the ages. All right, so let me build the box. We'll stick it in. That corner's gonna be high if you wanna dig that one out.
So this is the framing in which we're gonna pour the concrete into.
Right, so we want the top to be level.
Yep.
And then whatever happens underneath, we can just build out and pour. It doesn't matter. Once the organics are out of the way, Matt, we can push the rock into the middle. It won't matter. Okay? There we go. Level, please. I like that. Corner to corner. That's still a little high. We'll have to dig that one out. And that one could use a bit of a lift. So why don't you shovel that corner out and throw it over here. Remember, you can level on a tamped spot. You can't level on loose dirt. Okay? Just does not work. In 4-season climate, it's gonna get wet, it's gonna freeze, and if you don't have it tamped, it'll all end up settling. You're guaranteed to get cracks, right? There we go. Yeah. All right, so this isn't perfectly level, but honestly, it's not a bad idea to have a little bit of slope on your pad. The water will be running this way, away from it. It's about 1 degree angle. Now all we gotta do is pour a bunch of concrete in there. Screed it off, okay? So let's bring it on over. As you can see, being from Canada, we got different products than what you've seen in a lot of other shows. End of the day, up here, we've got 3 different quality levels. We've got one with the rock. We've got a product that has a fiberglass mesh in it. And then we have a high strength 6,000 PSI product. That gets up to about $35 a bag. So we're gonna work with the $11 stuff with the aggregate, and we're gonna be just fine. The secret here, of course, is to fill it in about halfway, and then you wanna tamp the base, and then we're gonna put in our structural reinforcement. Okay, now, We just want to make sure that this covers in the whole bed and it doesn't get near the edges, all right? The reason for that is we don't want to risk exposure to air because then it will rust, you'll lose your strength. So we're gonna go about 2 inches in using side cutters to cut this. If you're looking for an easier method, you could get a grinder with a metal cutting disc, but these side cutters work really well in this situation. What we're doing is we're adding reinforcement, which makes this entire monolithic slab one piece. So one chunk can't break away from the next chunk because it's bonded by steel. Okay? You could use rebar if you want to. It's a much more expensive version. This is just a walking patio. And as such, we're not as concerned about PSI. This product here goes to about 3,500, which is plenty. Now, if you're wondering about 4-season climate sidewalks, patios, walkways, the secret really is all in the drainage and in the compaction of the ground underneath. Most construction that's done, especially with sidewalks, they don't take the time to do the right kind of packing, okay? That's why sidewalks fail. And generally speaking, in a lot of cases, they're not using wire mesh, they're just pouring the concrete, okay? So this is a much better version than what you're gonna see out and about when you're walking down the street. Now we're just gonna fill this all up to the top, nice and flush, okay? We'll get the screeding going. We're almost ready to start the water. And while we're at it, we're gonna give a shout out to the Cajun Country Living folks. They've been doing dry pour for about 3 years now on their channel. And they've had a lot of success and they've been able to follow it up. What they haven't done is a 4-season climate with any kind of history. So that's why we're doing this, just to give you an idea of what the availability is as far as technology. Okay, we need another bag. Amazing, huh? So the way this is supposed to work is you put more material in what you need. So when you screed, it pushes down the rocks and then the powder comes to the surface.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the way this is supposed to work. There you go. Next half of this is you take a 1/2-inch nap roller, okay? And then you roll the surface. Make it nice and smooth. No pressure. Just the weight of the paint stick. Get rid of all those lines. Now that surface looks more like concrete paver surface now, right? Okay, done. Next step. Yeah, and that's it. Any more than that is too much. This is not production construction. This is art. Little press. Off we go to the races, and we'll just soften up the edges with the roller.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost a shame because we had such a perfect flat slab. now we're fussing around, and you know, but that's all right because every job that's done like this has imperfections. So, what I'll do is I'll just roll the front side a little bit, soften up those edges.
I mean, that looks fine to me. Right, and then spray it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna call it. For the next step, we need a light dusting. And I do not have a garden hose spigot at this property. So what I picked up was the Scott's Weed and Feed. This nozzle, we use it for staining decks and surfaces, and we're looking for just a nice light pass. Like a mist. And what you do is you create pressure. The more pressure, the finer the water molecules will come out. The job is to get the moisture on there without having heavy drops, creating craters. And when it's all changed to the same color, ooh, I'm liking that. That's the goal. Just get it wet and forget. It's been an hour. Time for another spray, guys. Another mist. Now I'm gonna do this on camera, but look, watch this, my thumb depression. It's no longer just powder to the surface, but it depresses. It's powder underneath. So the idea of this misting is supposed to be enough water to help the surface get hard without coming in drops that cause damage to the surface. So you maintain that texture that the roller put on there. So this time around, we're gonna go with a nice little bit of water here to help get a thicker crust. And then we're gonna wait another hour, and then we're gonna add a lot more water. Because it's still a porous stone regardless. This is gonna work awesome. Okay guys, it's hour 3. So we've given it a couple of really good mists. It's really hot and sunny out here today. So the truth is, it's not as crispy and crusty as I'd like it to be, but it's more than strong enough now to pour water on, and it's not gonna create any damage to the surface. So now I'm gonna just kind of flood it out. Give it a good bath. And let that water soak right in. All right. And we're gonna come back in about 2 hours and do that again. All right, yeah, it soaks it up pretty quick. I'm gonna double check the bag to see how much water is supposed to mix with each bag. Make sure in total we're putting that much water into the pad. And that is really the key because the amount of water that we need on this to activate it is already listed on the bag. So double check how many liters I get out of this thing. Maybe I have to soak it at least one more time. Might have to come by on the weekend to give it one more dosing. All right, cheers. Okay guys, here we are. We are what, a week later?
Yeah.
We've had this here for a while. So it's had lots of opportunity. It's hot outside. We're like almost 90 degrees, which means when it's hot outside, you get higher levels of moisture closer to the surface, okay? So you know that, that's just the way life is. In the wintertime, the moisture level drops down, but in the summertime, it comes right up the top. So this has been getting moisture from the ground as well. We're gonna take this thing apart now. I can't get a drill bit in that bottom one. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's okay, Matt. Come over here. Let's have a look at the face. You can lift it up. There we go. Oh, I don't have my hammer on me. Can I have your hammer? It looks like it really, the water saturated all the way to the bottom. Okay? Okay, here we go. So we got, this edge here is a little rough, but it looks like that can be tooled way too easily. Make it look pretty. Look at that, man. Oh, that got some damage because when you lifted the wood. Okay. This is fascinating. Now, why is that? The whole top layer. Look at that. It's separating from the rest.
Well, how much stronger is the top layer?
It seems to me like something has happened during the screeding process.
Yeah.
Right? And we got a top layer that's more brittle than the rest.
So maybe the way that we were screeding it isn't the best way to go about this.
Yeah, that might have been an us problem.
Because this looks like it's not really concrete.
We've even got the wire mesh in there. Oh, there it is. It's still dust.
Yeah. Oh. All right, well.
Okay, fail.
I'm not a
This
fan.
needs more water.
Yeah.
It's not ready. Wow. Maybe it didn't get enough water. Because it is pretty thick.
I mean, we followed the directions on the bag. We even got more, we got a little bit of rain.
We got rain, we got groundwater, it's just kind of odd.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do now, Matt, we're gonna put the decorative stone around, we're gonna clean this up, and we're gonna keep on hosing it. Hopefully it strengthens up over time. I don't wanna have to lose it. At least we got our decorative stone to kind of close it up and make it look pretty. It seems to handle foot traffic just fine though, right? But I'm not putting a whole lot of faith in that to last through the 4 seasons in frost. So we're gonna continue to hose this down and hopefully it'll last. I got nothing else to say. I won't be doing that again.